Good morning, good evening,
morning.
Good afternoon. How are we, everybody?
Yeah, not bad. I've just come off the back end of the flu virus that's sweeping this country at the minute. So the head stuff's hanging around, sore throat, cough, and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, feeling better than I was. So yeah.
Oh, glad to hear it. That's good. And how are you, Eugene?
Same old, right? Being a Tottenham Hotspur fan. So yeah, we got our Tottenham back. Yeah, we really did.
Yeah.
Really did.
Yeah, massively. Yeah. So first of all, I'd like to give a big shout out to Kev. Unfortunately, he's not feeling well again. So hope you get better soon, Kev, and hope to see you again on a podcast near you at some point.
Darren Anderson. There's only one Darren Anderson.
Pay no attention. So, if you're watching, like, subscribe, hit the bell thing. And if you wish to join in as well, here's the StreamYard link. It'll be a pleasure to have you on. We have one message already. Hi, everyone. Big up. Leave you out. Nice one, Eugene. Yeah. Okay, so let's get down to the debacle yesterday. Spurs versus Wolves. The lineup was Vicario, Royal.
Can we talk about Amsterdam?
So Vicario, Royal. Excuse me. VDV, Romero, Davis, Sarr, Bissouma, Son, Madison, Kulu, and Richie. As you noticed, there's an awful lot of gob on my floor at the moment because those players were shocking. First of all, what I'd like to talk about is something that's been happening very, very regularly recently. And what is it with us passing to the opposition?
No, you should ask the question, are we paid to pass to the opposition?
It seems to happen so regularly. And I can't figure out why. Are they not practicing passing in training? Are people just have teams become too used to the way that we play and their pressing is just magnificent? I don't understand it. What are your thoughts on that, Simon?
I don't think it's that. Hey, Kev. I don't think it's that. I don't think we do pass the opposition. I think what we've got, certainly yesterday in the game against Wolves, maybe a couple of other games as well, where we've had first choice players that have been injured in one or two areas. If we had our first choice players there, the opposition wouldn't get the ball at all. Like you look at yesterday with Royale, like he's not up to that level of where we're at with our first choice players. He's just not. You look at Porro in his place, right? Porro, short passes, massive, one corner of the field to the other passes. He's spot on, he's accurate and all that. I don't think we do pass the opposition. I think it's these players that are subpar are involved in that, and when they get the ball passed to them, they give it away. I include Richarlison in that as well, because we saw him, whether he dropped deep or whether he's up front, he would rather fall over than make an accurate pass. And even when he did try and get a pass out, it was never, I didn't see one that actually got to another Spurs player. So I get what you mean. It looks like we are, but it's the subpar players, like one or two that are giving the ball away. And that's what makes it look like that. Right?
Well, that's add on Simon, what Simon's saying, right? Actually, we're not passing to the opposition. We're just losing the ball to the opposition most of the time. Yeah. Right? Like what Simon says, true. The subpar players that we have. But the sad part is that now, with losing Udogie and Porro and putting Ben Davies and Emerson there, we see our total weakness and collapse of what Ange is trying to do, because they can't do what Ange wants to do because they don't have the speed to go up, they don't have the accuracy, and they're not the type of players that we hope to have in the squad, right? Yeah. So I guess this could be, like I've been saying in a couple of shows before this, right, during the preview and all that, with Udogie out and Porro out, will Ange be experimental end up he was some kind of experimental with playing actually Davis and Emerson on that fullback position, or will he be brave enough to actually reshuffle the back four? But it is what it is. We saw it, and we know they can't do it, right? But will they be given another chance? But now we have 2 weeks before our next game because Chelsea is playing the final of the League Cup, blah blah blah. Will these 2 weeks actually give Ange time to do something, right? But I guess Poro will be back slightly later, or maybe Udoji. Maybe by the 2 weeks' time they'll be okay. But that gives me the fear is that if anything happens to these two players, we don't have backup for them, right? There's nobody to sit in and come in to actually do their job. So quality on the bench sucks, right? In the end of the day, I guess with the fullbacks that we play, which actually our fullbacks are actually very, very integral to our style of play. And if they perform up to the standards that they're supposed to, that's what we get, right? Losing the ball in midfield, losing the ball in our own half, right? And of course, I've been saying ever since Son's back, Richarlison has lost his mojo, So that's how I see it. And to tell the truth, even yesterday when I saw Son playing, it's with they sat back and we couldn't break them down because we didn't have that speed of Udogi or the skill of Poro to put in that pass because we were stuck with Davis and Emerson. We know what Emerson is. We won't go in depth in it. So if we do, we will more or less end up. This will be called the Emerson Royale Chicken Royale Show or some shit like that. So it is what it is.
It's
like I said. We got our Tottenham back. Yeah.
As Kev said, Emerson Royale always likes the extravagant extra touch. And that's the problem, isn't it? Because he doesn't have the ball control to do that. Watching Richarlison as well, going back to what you were saying, Simon, yesterday, his first touch is absolutely atrocious. It is. It surprises me for a £60 million football player that he can't control a ball first time.
Sorry, and so you just started watching Spurs like 3 games ago or something. He's always been like that. He's always been like that. If he scores, it's within 10 yards.
Yeah.
That shot that he had yesterday, like it just does bizarre things, and you can see he's trying to get involved and try stuff like that bizarre ball that they floated in from a free kick. Nobody's touching it. It's going out for a goal kick, and he sprints back and touches it, and it goes out for a corner.
And then they score from the corner.
Yeah. So, like, what are you doing? Like, the ball goes into him. If he's got a player near him, he'll throw himself to the floor rather than. I think because he knows that the next touch he does is going to give the ball away. So he tries to get a free kick. So he's just not good enough for what we need. I know he's scored, however many goals and all that, but you look at the goals he's scored and it's like, well, you could put a player half of his value in there and he'd score exactly the same goals in those positions because they're tap-ins and they're,
I think standard of all the goals he scored, right? The only 2 goals that actually caught my eyes were the 2 goals that he played against Everton. Those were actually 2 good goals that he scored. Apart from that, they were tap-ins, close headers. Ricochet. The kind of headers that come in and he just skims it and it goes in. So
we're not getting our money's worth. That's the key thing. We're not getting our money's worth. We need
the truth, right? I think that's why when he was at Everton, he played on the left.
Yeah, and he's done that for us. When he's played on the left for us, on that left wing, in that left quadrant, he's been brilliant. His passing's spot on, his speed is spot on, and I think that was a key thing yesterday. Even with, I'm not sure we'd have won convincingly, but I think we would actually. No, I think we would have won yesterday. That if we had the tempo is the key thing. We were playing yesterday. Like you look at Kulu's goal, right? It was speed. They weren't ready for him sprinting through there. Dawson was nowhere near him, and nutmeg the keeper before the keeper knew what was happening.
Exactly.
And it's speed. And you look at the vast majority of that second half and the first half, we're just passing it around, and it's from left to right, and it's like, we're looking for some kind of creative kind of jinx and all that. We've got Madison in there, and it's certainly possible for us to score like that. But it's not going to happen when we've got a counter-attacking team. That's all they do, Wolves, is counter-attack. They can't. I posted yesterday in our Facebook group, like, we are better than them in every area. And the reason they scored 2 goals was because of 2 mistakes that we made.
Yep.
But if we haven't got, if they just rely on counter-attacking, they are eager to get the ball. They're going to be quicker than us at wanting the ball.
Yeah.
And we might be able to control it from left to right and left to right. But if that penetration, whether it's Madison, whatever, that penetration in towards getting the goal is not quick and speedy, then they're going to be quick and speedy getting on us.
Yeah.
They're not just going to stand and watch us pass it around from one side of the pitch to the other. They want that.
No, they did. They did, Simon. They did. In the first half, right? We were just walking the ball into the midfield while they went back and sat down and just watched us pass the ball left and right.
They're not going to do that forever. And I don't know about you guys, but for that second goal, I think it might have been the first time I've ever seen an individual player be at fault for one goal at both ends of the pitch. So Basuma, it was Basuma more or less dead centre in front of goal, just outside of the penalty area. He gives the ball away. Yeah. And then when he's jogging back, if he just runs properly and catches up with, is it Gomez that tapped it in? Yeah.
Neto.
He's right by him. He's literally like 2 yards away from him. If he'd have just gone a little bit quicker, he wouldn't have got the ball. It'd be no goal.
Yeah.
So
that was my worry. Is while we were 1-1, right? When we were going for it, Romero went up, VDV went up, and we left Emerson Royale to look after the centre back position.
I don't understand that.
Thinking was that, and when Neto got the ball, right, instead of running towards Neto to try to cut him off, Royale ran aside of him. I was thinking, what was that all about? It's like you're letting the player get through. Yeah. And of course, there was no follow-up from our midfielders to cover Gomez. So it is what it is. So, like I said, congratulations. We got our old Spurs back.
So the first goal, though, myself and Simon were having a conversation about that Sonny should have been marking him, but I think Sonny was on another guy. But the closest person to him was Sarr, and Sarr was not on any man.
Well, that's the thing. Having a really good, almost VAR-esque look at it. Yeah. There's a guy just in front of that player. Romero's on. Romero and Son are on the same guy. Sarr is 2-3 yards in front of the guy. Son is needlessly on the same player as Romero is. I think it is.
Yeah, that's my worry now. Is you see, right? We have been considering goals on set plays, corners, free kicks and all that. A lot of it. So we have a problem with our defending on set plays. Of course, it was a needless corner given away by Richarlison, number one. And number two, when that ball came in, right, it was all our defense, midfielders, strikers, and all that were supposed to be defending, all switched off. Yeah. All of them were looking at the ground. It's like something was on the ground, and he just jumped up on his own. And he ain't a tall player. Gomez is not tall, is he? He ain't a tall player either, right? So, and he was able to get a free header in. Yeah. And it was from quite a distance too. So,
to be honest, I'm okay with that. I'm all right with that. That's just a case of like working on how we look at set pieces, whether it's corners or free kicks. And actually, you can easily work on that.
Simon, we've been doing this for so long. Our zonal marking sucks. Why? Yeah, because I think 50% of our players, right, don't have the football IQ. They don't have that vision. They don't see things before it happens. So while the time it's like our owners, right, reactionary. By the time you react to something, right, it's too late. That guy's already got it in front of you, right? So if you can preempt something, I don't know whether it's in here that they can't get it to process, It ain't gonna work. That's all. Yeah, I don't know. But how are you gonna quantify what's gonna happen in every time someone gets a corner? And the worst part is that it looks like now handball has been found out.
Yep.
Yeah.
No, I disagree. I think handball is all about, first of all, controlling the play, which we did for the majority of the game yesterday. We just couldn't find that final penetration in their box, and then misses, and then which we do even when we lose in all the games that we've lost, we still control the game for the majority of it. And the other part is the unpredictability. Like, Andrew's got it set up where literally any player can score. And on a normal day, with obviously Poro's back in and Udogi's back in. Again, I've said this before. If you're the opposition and you look at us as a full strength team, you'd absolutely crap yourself because the goals could come from anywhere. We've seen it with Poro. You know, Poro will just bring the ball forward, look like he's going to pass it or cross it. Soon, before you know it, it's a one goal in the back of the net.
Yeah, same with Udogi.
And anybody can score, you know. And we nearly did yesterday. You look at Ben Davies, you know, even he's become a threat, and he should have scored that header.
Oh yeah,
and on a normal day maybe he does, you know, because let's not forget who Ben Davies is. He's not had regular games. He's not first choice, but he is a second string player that's playing over and above himself, and good on him. And he was, technically he was at fault for the second goal as well, because he's not quick enough to get back. He's the one running back on that wing. Another player, if that's Udogi, he catches up with him, he gets the ball, and we come back up the pitch and we probably score. So
you block him or you foul him along the way. I understand that. But
I don't think the ball is being found out. I think it's even if it does get found out, it's still unplayable when we're doing it right, and we haven't got, like we said right at the beginning, we haven't got subpar players joining in with it and letting us down. I think
the thing is with handball, I understand that. Handball can be found out easily, right? We already know what handball is. It's found out. The thing is that whether we can actually be clinical and actually reap the rewards of how we play. But what I saw yesterday is, right, Wolves just practically sat back with 10 players, right, and say, you come at us. And somehow or another, we didn't have that intelligence, right, to play the type of balls, right, to open up the gaps for our players to actually do something, right? And the sad part was that I saw Son get that balls at least 10 times, right, on the left wing. He goes forward and he passes it backwards. Goes forward and passes it backwards. And I was going, what are you doing? But then when you look across the line, you see 6-7 Wolves player in front of him. So he hasn't had a choice. He doesn't have a choice. So I don't know whether it's that they know that we don't have that creativity to break a low block. Because if they played a low block, right, and we had broken them 2 or 3 times, right, made it into a dangerous situation, they might have to change their mind playing that low block. They might have come out more, not to block at such a low position. You get what I'm saying? Open up more space. But the thing is that we couldn't even, we just playing on the wings, left, back, right, wing, back, left, right. We were just going horseshoe, back and forth, and nothing happened. So that gave them confidence. And when they pressed us, while we were doing that, we lose the ball. And that's when we get caught on the counter attack. So, and like what Simon's saying, if Udogi and Poro was back, we wouldn't have that speed problem that we can't catch up to Neto. We can't catch up to Gomez. We can't catch up to the players running at us. So it is what it is, right? So now we are lucky in the sense that we got this 2 weeks kind of break that give time for Udogi or Poro to come back, to join back the squad. But what I've seen now, right, guys, don't have expectations, right? When our first, that team that went on that 12-game unbeaten run, right, come back, that squad, right, will perform as what we used to perform in the early stages of the season, because these guys are coming back from injury, right? The mentality, they had to gel again. So it's not going to be easy. That's why, for me now, I'm just going to sit down here and watch us stutter throughout the rest of the season and hope we don't get smashed along the way. right? And hope that we'll be able to, scrape through a 2-1 win here or a 1-0 win. To tell the truth, right? We have not had a 1-0. We have not had a clean sheet in how many games?
Yeah, since November, I think.
Yeah. But don't forget, we are still now we're called the only Premier League team, right, to have scored 36 games in a row.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. That's one record. We are actually, the record belongs to who, right? 55 games, but we are trying to chase up to it. But what's the point, right?
Well, the thing is, Big Ange said something yesterday, which was the key thing, and I think yesterday was like an anomaly in that sense, because he said even with all those injuries we had before earlier in the season, even with all those, we've played better then than we did yesterday, and I think that's the key thing. It's like he mentioned, discipline as well. So it's about it's about holding our own. And the thing is, I don't know about you guys, but and anybody watching, feel free to comment. But in hindsight, I don't know what you think. I would have left Sonny on the bench and brought him on maybe later.
And play who?
Well, we needed, as we know, again, this is all with hindsight.
Yeah,
we needed somebody who could is keen to impress and had the skill and the creativity to actually create something, and that would have been Lo Celso. I know he came on and everything. We didn't really have much.
If you take Sonny off, right, we know who will go into the side. Werner will be there.
Yeah.
So.
Well, Werner, yeah. Well, Werner should have been there anyway. But I think the whole thing with being Sonny on the bench was because of, again, it's in hindsight, he looked so lacking in confidence, following obviously what happened at the Asian Cup.
Yeah.
I think Sonny, well, he's feeling like shit. And when Sonny feels like shit, we know the best way to make him perform is to stick him on the bench. Remember those?
I was actually hoping
he comes off the bench and he scores hat-tricks and what have you.
Yeah, like an impact player, right? This is what the thing is, that if we had reversed that, right, put Werner on and bring Sonny maybe at halftime, right, and put Sonny and take out somebody else and put in Johnson. We have that speed, but the problem is that Johnson's speed is useless if they all sit back. Johnson can't break. We know Brandon Johnson can't take a player on and put in a cross, right? He's just about the ball floating over. He chases it, and then when it's an open game, Johnson is useful. But when it's a compact game like that, right, I don't see what's the use of Johnson, right? I'd rather put in Brian Hill. At least he could dribble a few players around, right? But it is what it is.
But I think what Kev is saying, he would have liked to have seen Dragusin used yesterday in the back line. Do we think that Ange would consider playing 3 at the back while while our 2 speedy wing backs are out? Because then, as we said, you've got Mickey van der Ven charging up the field, you've got Romero charging up the field, and then Dragusin would stay back.
Yeah, I think when you look at it, like if Dragusin is used yesterday, like Kev says, it frees up Ben Davies. Ben Davies is fantastic going forwards. Gets great crosses in, and he's not consistently quick, but he has a burst of speed that is very, very useful in the midfield and in the penalty area. And he's spatially, he's using experience, obviously. Spatially, he's aware, and he's got really good vision. That's the word I'm looking for. Vision for that. We know that because he had that free header. He was all on his own, and he got himself in that position.
Yeah.
And I think, if he puts himself, if he finds enough space, at the back post, and that header is not towards goal but towards someone else, then that's a goal. And I don't. It's weird. He was technically at fault, but I don't want to blame Davies for anything yesterday because he did the best he could. Again, over and above the best that he could do. It's just, I think, like Kev says, if that Dragusin is playing yesterday, it doesn't matter that Davies can't get back. It's not quick enough to get back for their second goal because Dragusin's covered it.
Yeah. No, but the thing is that it was a weird thing yesterday. You see, in the first half, I saw VDV cover Davis a lot. Whenever Davis wasn't there, the VDV was there to cover his mistakes or whatever. That Davis can't run after Neto. That's for very sure. But when in the second half, somehow another VDV was more in an attacking kind of mode, and when the second goal was on, VDV was nowhere in sight, right? Helping out the defense.
He was, but he'd chosen to cover people coming into
and he didn't run after the person with the ball. Emerson ran after that guy, and he didn't do what he was supposed to do. And and it was already too late by then.
So I have a question as well. How do you think we can cut out these silly mistakes?
Well, Big Ange is focused on that. It's at least the second week on a trot where he's talked about discipline, and that's how you do it. It's down to Big Ange. It's down to Big Ange to work on that in training. And like you said, Eugene, we've got 2 weeks now to work exactly on that. And I think we cut out the mistakes. The worst case scenario for us is a draw. And
I had 2-2 myself. I thought
2-2.
And
that's the worst case scenario. And we've been playing. I'm so on board with Big Ange, so I might be a bit biased, but we've been playing so well despite everything. We've won the last 5 at home. Apart from yesterday. So. And with all these injuries and with a brand new manager and a brand new system and players getting used to it, and we've taken a while to get rid of the deadwood, dire. Then that all takes some time. And I'm still. We can take any positives from yesterday. It is that we are still building something else. He always says, almost every week, we're building something that's going to be really, really strong. And ironing out those mistakes, cutting them out.
The thing is that to cut out the mistakes is very simple. You just cut Davis, you just cut Emerson, and then we get new players to replace them. You cut out that mistake, then no more mistakes there. Right? So as we see it, we can't do it now because the window is closed. We didn't bring enough players because of PSR. The whole market was dampened because of all the rules and all that. And to tell the truth, Spurs were the highest spenders during the January transfer window. Do we get a trophy for that? No, we don't.
Woohoo, of course. The next spend trophy.
Yeah, the big
we were. Man United were, weren't they?
Yeah. No, but in the end day, right, the mistakes, like you said, how to cut out the mistakes is to cut out the players who are making those mistakes. You get what I'm saying? So, but he doesn't have a choice now. So, like you said, like I said earlier, like Simon says, right? So 2 weeks, let's see what happens. Hopefully Poro and Udogi will come back by then, and that will more or less give us some breathing space to play slightly better again. But don't forget, every time when our players come back from injuries, right, they don't perform like they are used to. So at this moment in time, as I see it, it's going to be really scrappy for the next 13 games that we're going to go through. Oh, let's see what happens then. I know when April comes, that's when that's when we're going to dread it because we're going to play most of the big guys during that time. And while we are preparing for that, I guess what I was always saying, right? This whole season could be actually the pre-season for what's going to happen next season while we slowly rebuild. But the sad part is that we've been rebuilding and we've been going through a process and we've been doing whatever we're supposed to do for the past how many years that we've been doing it. So would one more year hurt us?
Well, no, I don't think it would, to be honest. I think it's the thing that surprised me a little bit is I think we did have a good transfer window, but there was no real interest in backup wingbacks. Do you think that Ange thought that Emerson and Sessegnon could cover? Because I think Ange sees Davis as more of a centre back.
Yeah. I think Ange kind of gives a chance to everybody, isn't he? So it's like it's a clean slate. What I'm building here, you've all got a chance to contribute. Let's see whether you contribute or not. If you don't, you're gone. Simple as that.
Yeah.
No, because to tell the truth, right, I was doing some preview shows before this game. I was saying the most drastic way of reshuffling that back four I would have played VDV on the left to try to nullify Neto, put Davis as the left centre back and Romero as the right centre back, and put Dragozin on the right back.
Yeah.
See? Yeah,
Can
that would have been
play right back?
Yeah, he does. He can play right back. He's done it before for Genoa, right?
Right. Okay.
But the thing is that while he put up this lineup, it actually made us impotent because we knew that Emerson can't go forward and get positive results going forward. Davis goes forward and can't come back, right? And that gives Neto a free run at whoever is, looking after that area, right? If VDV was there, then VDV most probably be able to nullify him or equalize what he's trying to do. But as we saw yesterday during the second half, we were very attacking because the first half we were tepid, you know, we were slow, no intensity. We were just walking the ball out, right, passing it around while they went back into their shell and parked the bus. In the second half, we came out with more intensity, we got that equalizer, first half, boom, boom, boom. We 1-1.
Yeah.
Right. And then after that, possession of the ball for what? Nothing. We just played a horseshoe back and forth, Right. We couldn't break down their defense. So I don't know what to say, right? It's like having the drop-off in quality of the players are bad. And with Ange ball, now we do see the fullbacks are very, very important. If we don't get quality fullbacks to be able to play the kind of ball that Ange wants to, and it's proven Davis can't do it, Emerson can't do it. So
it's dreadful luck that both of them out at the same time, though, isn't it? But that seems that we have had some pretty dreadful luck this season. Romero and VDV in the Chelsea game, and then obviously Maddison going out. I know everybody has injuries during their season, but it does seem that we've had important players out at the same time quite regularly this season,
and a lot of them as well. And a lot of them, even if we'd have had half of those injured players back, in that earlier part of the season, if half of them were fit, I think we'd have been like 6 points clear at the top of the league at the minute. You know what I mean?
But it's so obvious, right? The sad part is, right, our squad depth is so bad when you lose, and the worst part is that we don't lose one player in one, we have to get them in pairs or in triplets. We lose 3 of them at one time, like the international duty call up. We lose 3 players at one time. Then with the injuries, all of a sudden we lose Maddison and we lose whoever because of suspension. It's like we always get double whammy or triple whammy all the time. So, and when you look at your bench and you go, okay, that's what we have. So that's what we're going to deal with. So that's the signs for our owners to actually step up during the next transfer window.
I think Ben Davies is a good backup on the left there for Dogi. I think he is good, but only again as a backup. So I can imagine Ben Davies spending the rest of his career with us because he's well into his 30s now. So the rest of his career would have just coming on at 70, 75 minutes, and although probably half a dozen things he did really, really well yesterday. Squeeze into that 20 minutes that either wins as a game or solidifies it depending on what's needed. It's just on the right there with Royale. I think that's it's a complete mismatch. It's almost like a different league between him and Porro in terms of what we needed, what we needed to do. Completely different styles of playing, completely different speed, quality, accuracy, everything. And don't get me wrong, Royale is good, but I think he's good for like a Brighton or or West Ham or something like that. You know what I mean?
Playing as a fullback, not playing as a wingback. He doesn't have the speed, but that's the same with Davis. And I know what you mean, that Davis is good as a backup, but you can't play the Postecoglou style of football with Ben Davis as a left wing back, because
the thing is that
he can come on in the 70th minute, maybe when we're a couple of goals up, and then he can kind of solidify it when we don't have to get forward as much. But when he's starting and they want to play with those marauding inverted wing backs, it doesn't work for me.
But guys, I think what is actually happening now also is that because Ange ball is so intense, right, with the speed and all that, I think this is catching up with the players that we have. Because we don't have a squad that's deep enough to rotate the players to play this kind of football. They are getting fatigued. You can actually see it.
Yep.
Our whole squad is getting fatigued because, number one, we don't rotate them enough to play the ball that Ange wants. Number two is we are looking lagging at the moment, right? So only thing is that maybe we will, like, if some games we will look like that, and some games will look very high and intense, and it's the levels, it's the roller coaster kind of thing that you're going to have now until the end of the season. Certain games you'll see a very intense, very focused, very they know what they're going to do, right? In certain games we're going to look lost. There are really a few games that we look lost along the way after after January and all that, when after the AFCON and the injuries and all that, we are looking lost at the moment. So
I disagree about the tiredness. I think with the way we play and that when we're at that full pace, full speed intensity, I don't think we're tired. I think it's led by someone. Someone has to be the catalyst for it. And in the case of yesterday, the reason, and I spoke at the beginning as well about the tempo and everything, and that's how we score, because we can do it. We did it with Kulusevski's goal. That was our intensity.
We can't do it continuously for 45 minutes. We can't do it continuously. That's the sad part.
We have done in recent games. That's the thing. We've been desperately unlucky. I think the key thing when that happens, it's led by someone, and someone starts it. And in this case, it's the captain, it's Sonny, and because of what happened at the Asian Cup, he was definitely low on confidence, low on speed, low on accuracy, stuck out on the left. He was almost anonymous. Everything he tried failed. And because of that, all the other players are looking to him as the captain, saying, "Right, are we gonna do it now? Are we gonna do it now?" You look at Kulu's goal; it's almost done by himself from the throw-in.
He did,
So he's tried to instigate that, and that's great. But it's the captain who leads everybody else. If Son does what Sonny usually does, which is we're doing that, passing around and probing and all that, and all of a sudden Son bursts through and he's beaten two players, and all of a sudden he's toe poked it or lifted it over the keeper. That's a goal. Great. There we are. We've started that now. We rise above the tempo increases for the rest of the game, and we are unplayable. But it just didn't happen because of what's happened with Son.
But in the end, overall, it's just the overall team effort wasn't there. I guess somehow or another the players more or less were disconnected, maybe with the drastic changes of Davis and Emerson, right? That gives them not the confidence to go forward like they used to do, right? Because you're worried that if you lose the ball, and we did lose the ball a lot in the middle of the park, and so.
Yeah. Do you think there's a very, very related question. Do you think Benton Cora has come back too early from injury?
Maybe, yeah.
It doesn't look like
he doesn't look like the old Benton Cora, right? He seems to be
every single game since he's been back from the injury he's 40% really of what he's capable of.
He looked brilliant after he came back from the first injury, and then of course that
the second injury,
Cash took him out. Yeah. And now I don't know if, he just seems to have lost a bit, and maybe he does need a bit of a rest, and that's probably why he was on the bench. But I'd like to continue talking about, if you want to carry on with Bentancur, but I want to talk about one of the guys who played in central midfield yesterday for us, Bissouma. He came with rave reviews from Brighton, and he's had some good games, but sometimes he just looks so disinterested.
For me, he's 50-50 at the moment. He's right on the fence in terms of racking up the amount of positive things he's done against the amount of negative things he's done. I think he's 50-50 at the minute, and he's it's one of those frustrating things. We've had quite a few players over the years at Spurs like that, where There's no, they can't just be boring and be, you know, average and week in, week out. They either have to do half a dozen brilliant things in a match, and then next week do 2 or 3 awful things and loses the match from the same player, and it's so frustrating. Like I said before, I don't think I've ever seen that before, where a goal is conceded by one player giving it away at one end and also being, you know, not covering the goal at the other end at the same time. I don't know. It's like, yeah, you kind of don't. I don't know about you, yes, but I don't want to get rid of him.
No,
but I do at the same time. After yesterday, I kind of do. I'm like, I can't, you know, it's weird.
Bring back Stefan Freund.
The now the thing about Bissouma is, right, I mean, the early parts of the season, we saw him strong. You can say, not being able to push. I mean, you see that kind of Dembele kind of vibe that he had. Then after he wasn't even, I don't think he was injured. It was a suspension. Then after, it was that double red card kind of scenario, right, that he got along the way. Then he was suspended. Then it was a long way until the AFCON. And when AFCON came along, he was supposed to be caught malaria.
Oh, really?
Right. And then, but he's okay. Right. So sometimes if you're sick and you're not actually fully recovered, but the symptoms are not showing, but internally you don't have that drive. You know, you don't have that extra energy that you used to have, that you can press a button and go boom. But he's lost that, and maybe that's going to weigh on his mind at this moment in time. But overall, let's hope this is the worst that we can get, right? And not drop any further down, and slowly pick ourselves up again to get positive results. If this is part of our collapse, then you see the next game will regress and regress and regress. And let's hope that's not the thing that's going to happen, right? So
it's one of the key players, isn't he? In terms of when we talked about that 2-week period between now and the next game, and also for the rest of the season, in terms of cutting out the mistakes and working on that and spending some time on it and correcting it. Big Ange has got to work on Bissouma probably more than anybody. Højbjerg as well, if we're going to keep Højbjerg. You know, it's identifying which players are the most prone to it and rooting it out, and we'll be fine if we can do that. Even if we reduce those mistakes by 50%, we'll be all right.
Of course.
Okay, so I don't think there's really many people to choose from, but man of the match.
Oh, I said this yesterday. The ball boys. And don't ask me which one, right? I said all of them. Yeah.
Dave from Bethnal Green. Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Guys, it's so hard to choose a man of the match, right? I mean, honestly, if Wolves were more clinical, right? We could have been. We could in the first half. We could have been 2-3-0 down without Wolves missing sitters and Vicario pulling out. Wonderful saves. I'll give it to Vicario. Yeah, even though we conceded 2 goals, we can't blame him for that.
Yeah, fair enough.
I think Kulusevski for me. He, like I said earlier, with the tempo and everything, he tried to get that started because Son wasn't. He tried to go a wonderful goal, lovely little nutmeg on the keeper, he tried to get us all going yesterday, but the others weren't having it. They weren't, again, because it's not only him that does it; it's Son. But he changed positions. He went through the middle, went through the right, helped out on the left. He tried more than anybody yesterday to win the game. Just can't do everything on his own. So bless him. Yeah, I'll give it to him.
Yeah, I'm agreeing with you there, Simon.
Yeah. But if I didn't choose the ball boys as the man of the match, I would chosen Pedro Neto.
Oh, I tell you what though, I think Ref had a good game. I was impressed.
Really? I have to say, I thought he was a bit soft, but one good thing, he seemed to be cracking down on this corner, blocking off goalkeepers, because we were doing that as well. And he was straight in there and he was like, no. Which I think with Vicario, he's not the biggest guy, is he? I mean, he's quite tall, but he's not stocky. And it did. I mean, that against Brighton, I think it was, wasn't it? You see when Welbeck was trying to do him, and then Maddison came in, and then another guy came in directly afterwards and just basically almost pushed him into the back of the net. And it's like, how the fuck is that not a foul?
Yeah, well, that's the thing. That's what I've been saying recently, and a couple of other non-Spurs fans said to my friends of mine said to me recently, you know, with the thing on Vicario, like, there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that. Well, fine then. If there's nothing wrong with that, because apparently there used to be for the last 5-10 years, you touch a goalkeeper, it's a free kick.
Exactly.
So when did it change? Did I not get the email? And if it has changed, then fine. So then I'll keep.
Haven't you checked the email from IFAB? IFAB sent you an email.
If it has changed, then fine. That means our keepers can now be more aggressive then, and not get that won't work, will it? So the whole thing is just ridiculous. So, no, to be fair, the referee yesterday did call out things like diving on both parts. There's a lot of times with Richarlison and a couple of their players, he's just like, get up, you twat,
Yeah. No, but the sad part is, right, it's not consistent, Jens. You get what I'm saying? This referee went and told the attacking players, right, you can't obstruct the goalkeeper. You get what I'm saying? For this game. That's why we didn't see that obstruction a lot, right? You can't be so close, you can't be pushing, you can't be elbowing the goalkeeper while the corner is coming in, right? But for this game, imagine the next game Spurs gets into, or another game in another club gets into, the referee doesn't say anything, it starts all over again, because it's not a written rule, right? Yeah. If it's a written rule, then the referees, will implement it as a written rule. But what Simon says, right? We've seen this, not even, I think, for the past 5 years, for the past 10, 20 years, right? The goalkeeper is like a sacred animal. If you get too close to it, right, it's a foul, right? You can't even touch him when the corner is coming in. So, I don't know. Maybe we'll get a rule change next season, right? Everybody can just hump the goalkeeper when the corner is coming in.
It's ridiculous. It's like you say, it's the inconsistency that pisses me off more than anything. We have poor, very, very poor quality referees. The standard refereeing is very poor, but they're not accountable. So that's not going to improve. I don't know if you watched any of the other games yesterday, but the VAR involved in other games yesterday was an absolute joke. It's gone well beyond the joke now, and we're a laughing stock compared to other sports. Let's assume the ref also let play continue before half time and full time until the attack's completed.
I'm not a big fan of Anthony Taylor, but he was okay yesterday. I think he's better than a lot of the dross that we have in the Premiership. But
he's a league above Michael Oliver. Let's put it that way.
Oh, fuck yeah!
Man of the match.
He wants to be man of the match, doesn't he, Michael Oliver? He always wants to be the centre of attention.
That's the thing. It has to be. First of all, it has to be really, 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 really obvious to the entire world that they've had a shit game. And what happens to them? They go and referee in the Championship for 2 weeks and then come back. Yeah. What the fuck is that? What the fuck is that about? Imagine if that happened in any other place of work. Imagine if like Jens, if your boss was like called out for his shit behaviour and like he had to go and clean the toilets for 2 weeks and then he's back to his normal position. Like you'd be like, what? No. No.
Afternoon, everyone. Frustrating and disappointing performance yesterday. Kept doing the same thing over and over again that wasn't working. Very, very true, mate. Very true.
That's the thing, mate. Like that's the thing. Like we've been here before, haven't we, with Conte and everything, and Mourinho not changing anything, and Pochettino during the last 6 months, just not changing anything. But with Big Ange, he brought on 5 subs, in a short space of time. Yeah. So he did try. And like we said earlier, like I don't know if you're there, Wayne, but I think Lo Celso and Eugene, I think he said Brian Hill should have been on a lot earlier instead of on the left-hand side there instead of Sonny on the left. and it would have been different because they love creating opportunities. And unfortunately, it might not have worked because obviously we've got Richarlison bang in the middle, and he could, you know, Jesus,
as useful as a chocolate teapot yesterday. He was.
Yeah, it's worse than that because he's constantly lost the ball in promising positions. You know?
Giving the ball away. I sometimes I say, like I said, is it the vision, or you can't see where our teammates are, or is it just you don't have it up here that do the proper thing? That's it. So,
it looks like his first instinct was to fall over and try and win a free kick. I mean, if you're up front all on your own and we're parking a bus, you're the only one up there. I don't understand that because it's still cheating, obviously, but you can understand it. Like that's maybe what you do to, waste some time and all that. But that was never the case. I don't know if he was used to that at Everton or something, but he was part of an important link-up play each time. Passing move, and he kept fucking it up. Like,
he falls over all the time.
Just stop it. Just stand up, hold the ball, lay it off. It's quite simple.
But the thing is that Richarlison is very simple, right? Whenever he stands up and holds the ball, right, when he feels there's a player behind him, he falls over. So I don't. Maybe now he's been found out by the rest, right? Maybe that's his modus operandi. But the thing is that most probably, I think that's what Ange's going to do is to tell him to cut it out. But as I see it, I think in the next game, maybe Ange will do the flip again. He'll take Richarlison out of the center, put Son back in, and maybe if Richarlison is lucky, he'll be still getting the left wing. But Werner, what's the results are.
Werner should have a shout there as well.
Werner will come in. Werner will come in and take over his position.
Wayne said there about the subs should have definitely made earlier. I don't know about that. Don't forget, we came out the second half, scored within 34 seconds, and we had a much better second half than first half. So I think first subs was 71 minutes. I don't think I'd have done them any earlier than that. Because when that start of that second half, if you're a manager, you're thinking, okay, good, right, let's kick on from here then, and you want to give it that time. So. Obviously, by 70 minutes, it wasn't working. Then they put on 71 and 85. Was it?
Yes. It's three subs at 71.
85.
Bentancur, Werner, and Johnson. One thing that surprised me yesterday was we only had one recognised defender on the bench, Dragusin. And then in the 85th minute, he took off Royal and put Højbjerg on. But I don't seem to remember Højbjerg playing right back. Who the bloody hell was at right back then?
No, I think
Højbjerg was absolutely fucking shocking again.
I think by the time
he's shouting at people, waving his arms around. Come on, man, just leave. Seriously.
Wayne's right there. Like again, talking about Udogie and Porro. It again goes back to the speed thing and the tempo. Both of those can change the tempo of the game, like from second gear to fifth gear in an instant, and that's what we missed. I don't think neither of Royal or Ben Davies can do that, and that is clearly the difference, and I suppose Son as well, but it's clearly the difference. And I think we just put this behind it because I think he said with Porro 2, maybe 3 weeks out. I can't remember what he said about Udogie. Is Udogie going to be out for longer or?
No, I'm not sure.
I think 2 weeks or so too. Both of them are either has a slight knock. Porro has got a muscle strain, so that will be about 2 weeks. But to tell you, guys, the first half yesterday, what I saw was that we were like tepid, no passion, no intensity. Second half, we came out very much stronger. But the thing is that when that happened in the second half, right, Wolves became very disciplined, very focused, very organized, while they were actually blocking us all the way. And we didn't have that player who could unlock their defense to put in that dangerous ball. And the sad part is that we need a striker, right, who is big and tall, right, to actually be able to hit the ball in. But there is a sad part to that is that we don't have the wing backs or the full backs to cross the ball in for them. Apart if you put in Son or John, I won't even count Johnson, right? Brandon Johnson can't cross the ball for peanut cider. So Son was the only one who actually do that, but we didn't see him do it. But by the time that happened, Son was actually pushed into the middle, the striker role, and we were hoping that Werner could actually contribute to something. He did try, right? Werner did put in a few crosses, which if we had players there to meet it, it would have created something. I'm not sure who actually put in the cross for Ben Davis to miss. Was it? Was it Decky or was it Werner or was it Son?
It was Kula, yeah.
Decky put in the ball for
on the right, wasn't it?
Let me have a quick look and see if it says on here.
So as I see it, overall, we don't have that out and out big guy who can come in and jump up and hit the ball in, right?
And brilliant with it as well.
Yeah, it was Kulusevski.
Yeah, it was Decky.
And that's the thing, when you look at the second half, the way Wolves played, they had four at the back who were
six at the back. I think
they were joined together by steel rods. You know, they moved. There was no more than 2 yards between them at any one time. They were in a perfect line, and they just stuck in the middle there. So the way we scored was obviously Kulusevski coming in from the right there and getting in behind them with speed, and he scored. And he then changed position and he's trying to create stuff by floating stuff in. But those four were solid. And we didn't. You're right, Eugene. If we have a striker that's better than Richarlison, and that's right in the middle of those four, he like bully or manhandles them out of the way.
Drop that rhythm.
One of them's down, doesn't get a free kick. All of a sudden, there's space behind that four, bang, goal. Simple as that. Yeah. So we need somebody accurate and he's a striker. He has to be a striker, like
Harry Kane.
Who? Oh yeah, of course. Yeah.
But that's the thing. When it's not, I don't think so. No, it's Harry Kane's not like the striker we need here, because we need somebody who's, I don't know, like a bit like Sam Vokes for Wickham. Wickham was my hometown team.
Battering ram.
Yeah, somebody who's not going to be fall over at the first opportunity. Who's going to be able to turn with two defenders on him and get a shot away and be accurate, and who wins headers. We need someone like that. And
hold the ball up, take in two defenders, right? Break up that line, right? And then we will have more space. But yesterday they wouldn't play four, Simon. Yesterday they were five at the back. That five was going like this, and we couldn't. Whenever we went left, that five went left. Whenever we went right, the five went right. You see, and somehow or another, I think they knew that if we played the ball upwards and over, we don't have that person to go against the ball, right? If you put Richarlison to go and do that, most probably he'll fall down before he reaches that position. He's done it a couple of times. Falling down.
Well, that's how they scored their second one on the counter attack. So he had that four there, but that fifth one was right in front. And Basuma, he robbed Basuma that fifth one, and plays it out. So the back four weren't even troubled. If it's Basuma doesn't make that mistake and lays it off, and instead of Basuma, if that's like the kind of striker we've been talking about, if that's that striker instead, he doesn't get the ball robbed of him. And especially in counter attack as well, when we're playing it out, if we have that kind of a striker right in the middle of the pitch and he doesn't fall over and try and win free kicks and he holds the ball up, even just for a few seconds, what we're like? We've got Maddison, Kulu, everybody's streaming forward. Mm-hmm. It's a quick layoff. Brian Hill's been doing it for us when he's come on. Mm-hmm. He's been one because he's bulked up so much since we first got it, and when we first got him. He's able now to do the magnificent turns, and you look at him against Newcastle, for example. When we played Newcastle, absolutely brilliant. Did exactly that for one of the goals, and that's what we need, and we just ain't got it, and we've wasted, I think, 60 million quid on was it 50 or 60? I can't remember.
60, I think.
On
50 plus 10, something like that.
I think he should have stayed at Everton, because. For his sake, because he was having such a good time there, he'd have done brilliantly.
Honestly, I think that was part of the Dele Alli deal. You have to get Richarlison. We have 50 million for 50 million for Richarlison. Then we'll sign Dele Alli from you. And now
But I have to say, you definitely have to give props to Gary O'Neill Getting sacked by Bournemouth when he was doing an absolutely brilliant job. The new guy's doing a pretty good job as well. But then going into Wolves, and he's made them really, really solid. And I think he is one of the up-and-coming English managers who, you never know. You could see him leading the country out at some point, him or Eddie Howe. I think you definitely need someone a little bit more exciting than Gareth Southgate.
Yeah, it's a mentality thing as well. Let's not forget they've got themselves in a really good position, and they've had, in terms of bad refereeing, they've had it far worse than anybody this season. And they've, that can really get you down as a team because it's something that's out of your control. You get a load of injuries and stuff like that. You think, oh God, it's quite depressing. But then you think, well, they're coming back. Let's try and muscle through. With the bad refereeing, there's nothing you can do about that because it's a shit system. And their mentality has meant that, and him leading them has meant. And let's not forget when he was here at Middlesbrough. He is a consummate professional right in the midfield there and leading. Very much a big leader, and he's using that to take them forward. And good on him. Love him.
Sorry.
Love him. Disappointed that he doesn't get anywhere near enough games. He'd make a difference, but it's a case of stick with the same players. I'd stick Hill Central, see what he can do. Yeah, but it's just too much. You're right, Wayne. You're right, absolutely right. But there's so much competition right in the middle there. Like, who'd you take out?
I'd like to see. I don't think Maddison's been the same since he came back from injury.
True.
I'd like to see Lo Celso get a bit more of a chance. Maybe a little bit earlier as a substitute, because seeing him come on, he really does have I don't think he's got the mindset for it, but he's got the dribbling skills.
Yeah,
and I like. The same with Hill, because people say, oh, he's not big enough, he gets pushed off the ball. I haven't seen that recently when he's been given a chance.
Way better now. Yeah, he doesn't fall over when the wind blows at him. That's one thing, right? So that's a good sign. But the thing is that what I saw yesterday, right, in Ange Tatic was a mistake. He should have brought on Brennan Johnson, because Brennan Johnson can't take on his opponent in front of him. Right? If you put on the Celso and Hill, right, at least Hill would try to at least take on the defense, right, and try to break it and cause chaos at one side that will create space on another side. But the problem is that if you got speed merchant like Brennan Johnson, right, he's got no one to run against to, because they're sitting so far deep. They're defending so far deep. He's got nowhere to run to. Yeah. Right? So that could be a tactical mistake by Ange, right? But I guess
take up Wayne's point here about Hill. And again, with hindsight, I think if you put Hill in place of Højbjerg for all the times that Højbjerg's come on a sub, we win. So think back to all the times that Højbjerg has come on. Yeah. If that's Hill coming on instead, I think we do a better job.
I'm not sure you can play him where Højbjerg will play, because Højbjerg's more box to box. I always find that Hill is more attacking. And you definitely can play him as an attacking midfielder, but I don't think you could play him as a central midfielder. I know.
Well, that's the thing. That's what I mean. So we win. We win. Yeah.
What Simon is saying is that I understand what Simon is saying. What Simon is saying is that instead of bringing Højbjerg, who's a holding, you can say, no, you put on Hill as an attacking. You're going for it. You know. And the speed will be there, because yesterday what we saw, we were in the 94th minute. Right, because we had 5 minutes extra time. 94th minute, we were still slowly playing out from the back. I was going, what the fuck? Pump the ball into the penalty area. Get everyone in. You can't be still playing that ball out from the back to try to reach the goal. By the time you go up there and you miss that chance, right, the referee will blow the whistle. The ref will give you one more chance in the last minute of the game to try to score the goal. There's always, we see that, right? But the thing is that we're too slow, so I don't know, maybe, like I said, you said the players won't be fatigued. Maybe the players are fatigued, not physically, maybe mentally. Yes, and fatigue can come in a lot of sense, So, when you're fatigued mentally, right, you go into a fog, brain fog, you don't know how to, you can't see your teammates, right? You, instead of passing the ball to your teammates, you're passing the ball back to the opponents. That's how I see it.
And there it is. There it is. That is the problem. So, but yeah, Wayne says Johnson still has a way to go yet before we see what he has in his locker and if he's capable of stepping up. Yeah, that's fair enough. Hill will get us a few free kicks.
For £40 million, right? I'm sure better step up quick.
Yeah, that's fair enough. Well, he's come from being a big fish, and no disrespect to Forest, but he was a big fish in a relatively little pond. And then he's come here and he's not. Yeah, I still think that he's definitely back up. And I think that he has. I know we spent a lot of money on him, but he wasn't brought in to start. He was. I think he was brought in.
Too early to tell. I think too early to tell.
Yeah.
And you can tell you can see why Ange brought him on yesterday, because he's been in similar positions, brought him on, and he scored before.
It's true.
I agree with Eugene. I think it just wasn't the right game for his kind of style, the way he plays and everything. Whereas Hill, when you got that like dense players, around in the first part, last third there. So Hill is great at those tight spaces and moving in those tight spaces and creating
dribbling.
And as Wayne says, if they take him, they've got no choice. There's not so much panic, right? They won't have a choice but to take him down, and then we get the free kick. So
Now the thing is that, of course, in the Brighton game, right? Brighton was coming at us. That's why Johnson was a good choice, because he had space to run into. In this Wolves game, Wolves just sat back and purely just wanted us to hump them, but we couldn't.
Yeah, they just relied on us making two mistakes yesterday. It's the only reason they scored. And again, with the first choice wing backs, they don't get those counter attacks. It's as simple as that. Those counter attacks just don't happen.
And to tell the truth, right, with Udoji and with Emerson and Davis as our fullbacks and inverted wingbacks, fullbacks and all that, we see Emerson, right, in their half of the field, but not producing the quality pass or the vision pass, to break up the defense. It was just going until the penalty box, then he comes backwards again. Then he goes back to the penalty box and goes backwards.
He's just a link, isn't he? He's just a link as part of that passing chain. He's not doing anything to change anything.
Chance and all that. So I guess it becomes frustrating, So your midfielders become frustrated. So it was a frustrating game yesterday for us. That's how I see it.
Yeah, as Kev said, same in the first half. With 90 seconds left, we still play tippy-tappy across the back, running down the clock as if we were winning.
Yeah.
That doesn't, Anyway. Okay then, chaps, let's move on from that very disappointing game. I asked Simon and Kev what they wanted to discuss, and I have no clue what the bloody hell they're talking about here, but Son's dislocated finger.
Okay, so
enlighten me.
So this is as far as I understand it, right? And Eugene, maybe being actually in Asia, maybe you've got some insight into the news networks there or what have you. But this is the way I understand it, and this is an anglicized version of what happened. So just before their Asian Cup semi-final, as per the norm, they're having a team meal. They're all about the team and everything. They're all sat together having a team meal. Couple of the youngsters think like, right, we're leaving this meal early. We want to go play ping pong. So they get up to go. Son is like, where are you going? Oh, we're going to play ping pong. No, mate. Wait till we've all finished, and then we can all, go and do our own thing. No, mate. Well, we want to go play ping pong. A couple of the other senior players are quite aggressive, going, just sit the fuck down. Your captain's just told you to sit down. Just stay until we've finished the meal, at least. And they're like, nah, can't be arsed. All right. Basically, those senior players and those younger players get together. Son dives in the middle to try and separate them, gets his fingers dislocated.
Ouch.
So, and then and try and imagine that, and then going out to play a semi-final in the Asian Cup. You're just like, just before you started.
I guess that must have screwed up their whole morale thing, for their semi-final.
Yeah,
that's why they didn't turn up. And of course, playing zombie football under who, that wasn't the best morale booster. And the dislocated finger, maybe that is why Son wasn't performing too well, or maybe there were certain things on his mind. Because the guy that actually was in him in the kerfuffle was actually Lee Kang-in. Yes, and the guy who plays for PSG now. And there's a big hoo-ha going on the Korean side to say that, because we Asians, the respect is very important. right? Once you disrespect a peer of yours or elder of yours, right? Usually you get kicked out. So there are news of saying banning him from the Korean team and blah 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 going on. But in the end of the day, we're all human. You get what I'm saying? So maybe the younger players thought the ego was there, and the older players wanted the respect. And in between, something happens, and whether Son was trying to break up a fight and got his finger dislocated, or whether Son was actually in a fight, right? That is only what happened there. Those who knew it or those who know it, and whoever maybe has got a video of it, it might go viral later. I don't know, right? So
that's the thing as well. When you're in that situation, like it doesn't get resolved, and it's just before the game. So even if it's like, right, let's all calm down, just go said raise, you go over there, you go over there, that doesn't get resolved before the game. So you're playing the game, you're still at odds. You still want to
there's a Chinese saying, right? There's a Chinese saying. I'll say it in a way translated in English, right? It's like you're going with a thorn in your heart. You can say that. So there's no what call understanding the morale. The respect is not there. That's why they didn't play that well. In that could have. That's what I'm saying. What I see in Son now coming back from this Asian Cup, right, is nothing much more of a physical thing, because it partly physical because they played 2 knockout games, a full 120 minutes. And nowadays, right, a football game that goes 120 minutes is most probably likely going to be 150 minutes game kind of thing, right? So as I see it, that has played on Son's mind. And because Son, as a very passionate person on his profession, right, I think that is still dwelling on his mind, the loss and the scenario that's happened to him, why they lost. He's maybe blaming himself, right? So at the moment, don't forget, guys, Son scored the winning goal against Australia in the extra time with a brilliant free kick. And that should have actually brought up the morale of that squad. But instead of this scenario, this thing that happened just before the semi-final, Son dislocating his finger, blah, 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 that mental weight on him maybe is still bearing on him. So like what you've been saying earlier, Simon, maybe in the next few games, right, instead of putting him as starter, maybe bring him on as an impact sub, for him to get back his mojo, right?
We've seen it before, haven't we? We've seen it before where he's come on as sub. Brilliant.
Yeah, and then the Brighton game, he did that world class. Guys, there's no more argument, right? Son is world class. And just said it, right?
But also with Sonny as well, don't forget it's still unresolved, isn't it? Because when you think about the timeline, you're playing that game and it's unresolved. You haven't got a chance to chat to those younger players and resolve it, what have you. The game finishes, you're in even worse mood because you've just been knocked out, and then it's straight on the plane home, isn't it? So he's probably not even.
No, that's right. That is the thing. You see, usually, because I think the whole South Korean squad, right, for this Asian Cup, because of all the stars they had, right, they were the bang-on favorites, and that weighed on him, number one. Number two is, right, Klinsmann wasn't the correct manager for South Korea in this championship. South Korea has not won the Asian Cup in 64 years. The last time they won it was in 1960. That makes you feel like a Spurs fan. You get right? You get what I'm saying? 64 years, and that expectations were so. And while this drama happened, right, that must have played a lot on his mind. But let's hope he recovers quickly, right? And this is the time where I think
2 weeks to sort that stuff out, and so I imagine he'll through Zoom calls or what have you. I'll imagine he'll get it sorted, get his head right, and come back. Next game I would still start him on the bench, and
let him start on the bench. Right, come on, as impact player. Who's our next game anyway?
2nd of March against.
That's a good question. Is it Palace? Let me have a look.
Away.
Pretty sure it's Palace.
Away, right?
No, it's at home.
Palace at home.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, Crystal Palace at home, 2nd of March.
Okay, because we're supposed to play Chelsea away. Yeah. That's why this game has turned into a home game, right? Because that means we played 3 home games in a row.
Yes, yeah, and
This will be our 3rd home game, right? We never won last one. So I come out. We're going to draw the Palace game, I think. Win, lose, draw. That is in sequence.
Okay. Also, something that Simon and Kev wanted to discuss. What's going on in München? Dyer strikes again.
All people.
I don't watch a lot of German football. Never really. Well, I've got a team that I follow, but that's just because of Football Manager that I ended up managing them, and it was great fun. But they're not in the Bundesliga, the top one. But Bayern Leverkusen and Xabi Alonso seem to be doing absolute magic at the moment, and beating Bayern Munich, who usually run away with it, and our Harold Kane. What's going on?
I think it's Tuchel. I think it's the manager. He's done this when he was at Chelsea. Okay. Does really well, and then it just very quickly, whatever magic he's working just fades completely. It's like he's been like he's met like some kind of wizard, and the wizard said to him, "Right, I'll give you the opportunity to be really, really good as a manager and win trophies, but it's not going to last. It only lasts for a specific time." And it's almost like Thomas Tuchel hasn't heard that second bit. Yeah, as soon as that wizard paused before he said, "But it only lasts for a specific time," he's already thought, "Oh, I'm going to win trophies!" Oh, and he just hasn't listened to anything else. and he's just like skipping along, like la da da. I've got Harry Kane. La, la, la. And the wizard's like, "Yeah, but it doesn't. Oh, forget it."
Guys, honestly, right, I watched that Bayern and Leverkusen game, right? Then the shit part was it, right? It reminds me so much of Spurs when Dyer was at the back of the fence.
Oh dear.
I was going, okay, you got Eric Dyer. Let's see what happens. Harry Kane was anonymous, right? They couldn't get the ball to him. He was marked out, right? And every time when Leverkusen scored, I was looking, is it Dyer's fault? It is Dyer's fault again.
So here's a theory. Here's a theory, which is complete nonsense, but actually logically works. Harry Kane is cursed when it comes to trophies. So when he was with us, right, smashed all these records. Was the best player, almost arguably one of the top 3 players that's ever put on a Spurs shirt. Logically, should have won loads of trophies, didn't. So he goes specifically searching to win a trophy at Bayern München. First game, German Super Cup final, loses 3-0. Since then, he's been booted out of their version of the FA Cup by a team, I think it was 2 leagues below.
Saarbrücken, yeah.
Very much in danger of not winning the league. What else is there? And again, he doesn't win a cup. When you look at it, one of the top teams in Europe, and he started off, I think he got like 16 goals in 10 games, and then lately he's got like 6 and 12 or something like that, which is still not a bad return, 6 and 12.
But not for a striker of his.
Yeah, exactly. I think he's cursed. I think he's weird, kind of, again, going back to the whole, I don't know why I'm on a weird kind of wizard fantasy curve here, but I think
the wizard.
I think the same wizard has cursed Harry Kane, saying you're going to be the best player in the entire world, but you ain't getting a trophy ever. No matter what happens, despite against all logic, you will never win a trophy.
Yeah.
So I posed the question in our chat a couple of days ago: would we have him back? I think he'd fit really, really well alongside, just in front of Maddison, and it'd be a dream team. But at the same time, I'm like, he's cursed. He comes back.
But Simon, the weird thing is, right, Harry Kane was doing well along the way until the January transfer window came along. When Dyer came in, that's when the shit all hit the fan. I can blame Dyer. Dyer is cursed, not Harry Kane.
That was that brilliant meme, wasn't it? You know, do you remember that scene in The Office when that what's his name, Ricky Gervais, is stood at the bar waiting for his date, and his date walks in, and she's not very attractive, and he turns around and he goes, "Oh, for fuck's sake!"
Yeah,
and they've got a picture of Kane and Dyer in the background as the girlfriend.
Well, no, but Harry arranged for him to go there. As far as
that's true.
I mean, can Harry Kane arrange for Dyer to go there?
Well, he's probably put in a word. He probably put a word in.
Oh yeah.
And then of course,
wait. Hasn't Tuchel actually seen Dyer play for us?
Maybe not. Maybe not.
As soon as Dyer turns up, then their number one centre back gets injured, probably in training by Harry. Yeah, and then Dyer goes straight into the team, and then it's all gone. Okay, then, chaps. As I said in the private chat, the little one and one of her friends and my wife are back. So, any other business or any plugs?
Spurs women kicking off against Aston Villa, 2:00 UK time. It's free to watch on the FA player. If you go to the FA website, they've got their own section for videos and stuff. Okay. And a standalone kind of player in browser player. You can watch it live on there. A bit inconsistent up and down with the results and stuff with the Spurs women, but as long as we've got Bizet, look out for Bizet, a phenomenal player. As long as she plays, we should.
Norwegian, isn't she?
French,
is she? Okay, sorry. Oh, okay, nice. Okay. Yeah. As Kev says, Leverkusen 8 points clear of Bayern Munchen, who have one game in hand but should win today against Bochum. Yeah.
Well done, Kev. You just jinxed them there. Well done. So that's
well done. And Bochum was going to win from a Dyer own goal. Yeah. But guys, okay, if you're watching later, right? Don't forget to subscribe on RickyVillaTV. Right, and then of course Spurs Vision TV. Maybe we'll do a show in somewhere midweek or end of the week before. We got 2 weeks to do shows, right? Rant about what's happened, right? And wallow in despair, right? And the sad part is, guys, please, right? Understand, we are still going through a rebuild, right? We have to believe in the manager. We have to give the support to the manager, right? And please, because honestly, what I'm seeing now, the seeds of Angel has been planted again, like the seeds of Conte have been planted last season. It's restarted again, right? Let's hope our owners and whatever, the chairman, the board and all that, stick with Ange, give Ange what he wants. If not, I'm coming for you, Levy.
Out.
Levy out. Come on, you Spurs.
Come on, you Spurs.
Take care, chaps. Bye-bye.
You too, mate.
Take care. Have a good day.